guys, it's Lauren with Discover Double Bass. As you can see, I am still in Australia. If you haven't heard the news, I have decided to move here, and I'm still waiting on some of my equipment, so that's why things look a little bit different than usual. Now today I wanted to talk about the placement of the thumb on the string, the actual contact point where you put your thumb on the string when you're in thumb position. Now everybody's hand is different, but there are some general guidelines that you want to keep in mind when you're in thumb position and some things that you just generally want to avoid. So in this lesson we're going to talk about that. One of the most important parts of playing in thumb position is using the correct point of contact of the thumb against the string. That's what helps us move freely up and down the instrument without any added stress or pain in the arm. Now, usually when people put their thumb in thumb position for the very first time, a common thing that I see is people putting the thumb right on the knuckle of the thumb. And I think people do this because they think it's the strongest part of the thumb, but that's actually not so true. When you put your thumb on the knuckle, or you put the string on the knuckle of the thumb, then that limits your flexibility, and it's really difficult to actually put your thumb against the string and press the string down. It causes a lot of pain and tension in the lower part of the thumb and even in the lower part of the wrist down in here. And also, if you have your thumb this far over, usually, depending on the length of your thumb or the distance between the strings, if you have your thumb on the knuckle, usually that's going to touch the lower string. So that hinders you being able to play the string, say the open string, right below it, and sometimes your finger can actually catch underneath the string, which will cause you to pluck at an inappropriate moment, or your finger will just get stuck, and then whatever you're doing is just kind of hindered for that moment. So that's why you want to prevent yourself from actually putting your thumb on the knuckle. Right. Another thing that people will do is sometimes get too close to the tip of the thumb. So if you get too close to the tip, it's the same kind of idea. It's difficult to actually press the string down without causing any pain or tension. But also, it just really hurts. I have never been able to put my finger down on the string at that point right next to the actual fingernail without it just hurting like you know what. So I find that in between those 2 points, somewhere in the fleshy middle, right above that knuckle, is the best placement for that, and there's a lot of reasons for this. First of all, you've got that extra flesh there, so you have a little bit of give, but it's still strong enough to where you can actually cut the string off, which is what you want. You want to be able to actually press the string down and cut it off so you get that crisp sound. And then also, when your thumb is here, it's just a nice placement where you haven't hindered that movement in the knuckle right here. So you have a little bit of motion that you can do, and it's just a little bit easier to use that arm weight to dig into the string. And then of course you've got that clearance. I'm not touching the lower string here. I'm really close, but I'm not actually touching it, so I don't have to worry about any sort of accidents that happen as I'm moving quickly. Now, like I said earlier, every finger is different, every hand is different. So where I put my thumb might not be the exact spot that you put yours, but a couple things to keep in mind are things that I mentioned earlier, like the feeling of your hand down in here. If there's tension there, then you probably want to use a different part of the thumb. If your thumb is touching the lower string, same thing. Another thing to keep in mind is how it lines up with your fingers down here. Now when you've put your first, second, and third finger down on the string, they just naturally line up. And if you have your thumb on the knuckle, then your hand doesn't line up. You actually have to move your hand a little bit out further than you need to. And when I say hand, I particularly mean the thumb. It juts out a little bit further, which makes it difficult to play with curved fingers and to play quickly. So if you think about it in terms of your thumb just lining up naturally. Think about when you're just holding your hand up in the air like this. Your thumb just sits naturally like that. That's essentially what you want to emulate. When you put your hand on the board, your thumb should just sit naturally without jutting out further or pulling back inward like that. It should just line up with the fingers, right? So to practice this, first of all, I would just try to find the actual point of contact that's most comfortable. Now, if you're new to thumb position, you've never played in thumb position before, it's going to be uncomfortable pretty much no matter where you place it, because thumb position is just uncomfortable at first, but you'll get used to it. But if you feel that sharp pain right near this nail, that's a thing that you want to pay attention to. Or if you feel this tension right in here, then that's something else that you want to keep in mind. But otherwise, you will feel a little bit of discomfort. But when you're finding this, just find that placement first. Try to find a place where you can get the weight in, press the string down from the back of the arm. And then once you find that contact point, I would do just a little bit of a shift. So I would do maybe first finger on A with the thumb down to second finger on C sharp. Back and up, and then back, and then up. And as you do this, focus on keeping the thumb on the same part of the finger and the same part of the string. Another thing that you can do to practice this motion is doing some basic scales, either a whole scale or just part of a scale as you're crossing strings. That's a really difficult thing to do, especially when you first started in thumb position, is to keep the same contact point across different strings. So whatever you do, just take it slow and try not to wear yourself out, especially if you're new to thumb position, and make sure that you're paying attention to your body and listening to any of this pain that we talked about in the wrist back here, or this sharp pain that you might have right against the nail. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions, please leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll get to it as soon as I can. And if you enjoyed this lesson and you would like to learn more from me, please check out my newly released full-length thumb position course available exclusively on discoverdouble-bass.com. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.